Welcome. Good to have you along. We're going to focus today on somebody who considered themselves a great plotter and modestly dismissed her writing style, which was brilliant. She is the best-selling fiction writer of all time, Agatha Christie. She was born in Torquay in England to a wealthy upper middle class family. Her father, a stockbroker, American, and her mother, an English woman who encouraged Agatha Christie's imagination and love of storytelling. Despite not receiving a formal education, Agatha Christie was homeschooled and learned to read at a very early age and became an avid, voracious reader. At 16, she was sent to Paris to study music and singing, but later abandoned this career path. She met her first husband, Archibald Christie, a British Army officer, when World War I broke out. And this is where she gained a knowledge of mystery from an exposure to poisons when she was working as a volunteer nurse in a dispensary. She wrote her first novel, The Mysterious Affair at Styles, in 1920, which introduced one of her most successful character, Hercule Poirot. Throughout the 1920s, Christie gained more and more popularity, but her personal life took a downturn. Her mother died and her husband asked for a divorce due to an affair with another woman. That same year, Agatha mysteriously disappeared for 11 days, an event that remains one of the biggest mysteries of her life. She was eventually found in a hotel in Harrogate, registered under the name of her husband's mistress. She claimed amnesia, though some believe it was a complete mental breakdown. After recovering, she traveled to the Middle East, further expanding her knowledge of poisons, where she skillfully included these elements in a new character that she created, Miss Marple. In the 1950s, she gained global literary success with millions of books sold worldwide. She passed away January 12th in 1976 at the age of 85. She remains, as I said, the best-selling fiction writer of all time, with over 2 billion copies sold, and books translated into more than 100 languages. A play of hers, The Mousetrap, ran in London and was the longest running play in history. So, brilliant plots. She was a master of mystery, using red herrings, clever twists, and psychological depth to her characters. Poirot and Marple are her two most famous detectives. Timeless appeal. Her stories remain gripping and accessible to even audiences today. I often look at quotes because they give you great insight into the person. These quotes are developed over a significant portion of their life. There are observations that keep recurring, and therefore they extract this to pass on that observation. The best time, a quote of hers, the best time for planning a book is while you're doing the dishes. It's an idea that is quite interesting, although I think it speaks more to the fact of coming up with a plan and an idea when you are most relaxed and maybe not trying so hard to think. Very few of us are what we seem. And another interesting quote, this happens throughout her books, of course, because they are cloaked in murder and mystery. The line captures, I think, a recurring theme of hers, the deception of appearances and how that folds into human nature. And another quote of hers, "The truth is, I am not a very good writer at all. I am only a good plotter." She was known for intricate plots. However, she is being far too modest with her skill as a writer. But I think the quote underscores her focus in creating compelling, tightly woven mysteries, and that we can gain a lot from. So we have plot and we have stories, and you can almost see Agatha Christie coming up with that poison has these symptoms and these effects, and could that be masked? Could that be hidden? And then trying to work out, okay, what character is going to unravel this? So we have almost plot before character. So let's focus a bit more on coming up with ideas, coming up with plots, and let's step through a few of those what ifs. Starting with science fiction. What if humanity discovered that the entire universe was actually a single organism and Earth was just a cell within it? What if a person could upload their consciousness into other people's bodies? Astronauts landed on an exoplanet only to find that it was actually a future version of Earth. What are we really doing here? We're trying to copy down and come up with as many what if scenarios that we possibly can. I'm reminded of years ago looking for a job and deciding I would just apply for everything and see what comes. And in many cases, I would look at that job and then see this job was ideally suited to my skill set, and then never hearing back from them. Whereas others that I had thought, yeah, that isn't quite, I'm not even interested in this one. And of course, they got back to me immediately. And you never quite know. So the idea here is to jot down as many scenarios as you possibly can and ultimately work with your sounding board people to try to flush out a possibility of one or more of these ideas blended or possibly extracted from multiple genres. So let's continue. Fantasy. What if every time someone told a lie, it became true somewhere else in the world? A person found a locked door in their house that no one else could see. A city was built on the back of a sleeping dragon. Horror. A child's imagination conjures up a friend who then becomes a real entity. A group of people woke up in an empty town where time moved differently. A person received a voicemail from their future self. begging them to, who knows. Mystery and thrillers. A person found a list of names, and every day one of those people disappears. A detective discovered that all their past cases were connected to an unseen mastermind. A journalist investigating a cold case realizes that the missing person was actually them. Futuristic. The government assigned people a happiness score, and those who dropped too low simply vanished. A company allowed people to live inside their happiest memories, but staying too long meant they lost touch with reality. In the future, people could rent extra hours in a day. What effect would that have? Romance. What if a person was born with a single word tattooed on their body, and that word was the first thing that their soulmate uttered when they met them? What if a time traveler kept meeting the same person in different eras? Two people shared the same dream every night and fell in love, but we have not met that person. We can pull a lot from Agatha Christie. She truly was a master. And we can, if we break down the process of these people, it helps us with our process. So I hope this video has been helpful, and I'll see you again on the next one. Bye for now.